Simplicity is an area of spiritual discipline that goes hand in hand with worship, helping us to devote our lives to God above all else. We need simplicity because worship actually turns out to be quite complex and does not always work out quite as we would like. Oh, we want to devote ourselves to God, giving our time and energy to serve Him. But when it actually comes to real life, there are just so many other things that need to get done as well. I've got to work to pay the bills and support my family. I've got to spend time with my children and with my friends. There's work to do on the house, emails to answer, phone calls to make, books to read, games to be played, films to watch, and any number of other things vying for my time and attention. As soon as I've got them done, then I can devote myself to God. The problem is, no matter how hard I try and how much multitasking I achieve, there never seem to be fewer distractions than when I started. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus spoke about the need for our eyes to be simple, or more accurately, single, focused only on one thing. Building on this, Jesus gave the example of attempting to worship both God and money, trying to serve two masters instead of one. He did not say that it was difficult, nor did he suggest it was a foolish thing to do. He said it was impossible. You cannot serve two masters. You will always end up serving one or the other. This is true of all our attempts to worship God while also serving other things. And so we're presented with a choice. Not a choice to serve only one master, we can only ever serve one. Rather, we're presented with the choice of whether or not we will serve God. There are always going to be idols, things that we worship instead of God, things we devote our time and energy to. But, and this is important, we do not have to surround ourselves with them. We do not have to give them every moment of our time. And this is where the spiritual discipline of simplicity comes into play. Simplicity is often confused with fasting, and it's easy to see how. Like simplicity, fasting involves giving up something for a certain amount of time. However, while fasting has to do with humbling ourselves before God and denying ourselves something that is necessary for life, simplicity is about restricting the influence of idols on our lives and denying ourselves the things which are not necessary for life, but may actually seem that way. A few years ago, I was totally into computer games. One game in particular, in fact, which I used to play as often as I possibly could. Sometimes I even played it in my sleep. After work, I would rush home, desperate to get back into the game. It was a thing I simply loved doing and longed to do. And in the end, of course, I had to give it up completely. And at the time, that was genuinely painful. It felt like giving up breathing. But that was the only way I could cut that idol out of my life. To help us worship God, we need to regularly examine ourselves, asking questions like, what do I long to do each day? What do I look forward to when I wake up in the morning? What would I rather do than spend time with God? The answer could be pretty much anything. Work, hobbies, people, sports, possessions, entertainment, anything. It will be different for each of us, but these are the things that draw our eyes away from God to serve them instead of Him. Simplicity involves denying them your worship and taking from them the right to rule your life. Exactly how you go about doing this will take careful consideration. You may even have to go as far as removing them from your life for good, although this is not always the case. Come on, you might say. Giving up a computer game is one thing, but I can't give up my job, I can't give up my friends and family and such like. They're the things that are important to me and that I give my time to. And it's a fair point. We have to engage with this world at least to some degree. We have to work, we have to interact with others, we have to own some things and use things like computers. But what we don't have to do is let them dictate how we use our time and our energy. That right belongs to God alone. And if we are serious about worshipping Him and allowing Him to dictate how we live, we need to practice simplicity.